Christine, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you, Desi.
Well, everybody that's either listening or watching, you have no idea what a sweet treat you're going to get because I have the wise pineapple with me today. And if you're listening, you're not seeing that I am holding a pineapple. Let me put this on my shelf behind me here. So that's our theme for the show. We have the wise pineapple, and I also have her book, Yes, which is an amazing, amazing book. So we're also going to talk about that book, which every single person that works in a hotel, you have to read this book because it is a game changer on having a successful hotel industry business. So, Christine, why don't you just first tell us a little bit about you and how you got into the hotel business? I know the story, but I want you to tell everybody about you.
Sure. Well, again, thank you for having me, Desi. My journey began in hotels at 17. I was in the high school work program, and I got a job at a Hampton Inn as my first job in hotels as a van driver slash laundry girl. And I absolutely fell in love with making memories for families and for travelers and just making people happy. And so I just kept growing. Only a year later, at age 18, I became the assistant general manager of their new hotel that they were opening. And then I just kept growing and growing and growing from there. And now here I am crossing the world, sharing my methods on how to always say yes.
Well, how amazing at 18, you're an assistant manager?
Yeah, I was leading 40-year-olds. I mean, at the time, that was really weird.
I would imagine. I would imagine. So we're talking about lots of experience and, both of us travel quite a bit, especially as speakers. And so, I mean, in one respect, I live in hotels and,
Uh-huh.
and a hotel is so important to your comfort, to just helping you to adapt to whatever situation you're going to be in. I mean, you walk into a new city and it's like, okay, I'm here all alone. I need some help. And so there's so many little things that someone in a hotel who's working there can make the experience so much better. It's interesting that again, being sleeping and living at so many different hotels. So my latest experience was I needed to have a wake up call. And as a speaker, when you have to be down for a sound check at 7 in the morning, I mean, I set my alarm on my phone in the room and I get a wake up call because I do not want to miss that. I mean, to be late for your speaking engagement is not a good thing.
That's
So
a
I make
big deal.
and this is what the gal said. She said, I said I needed I needed a wake up call at 6 a.m. And she says, what? And I said, I need a wake up call at 6 a.m. And she goes, I don't really understand what you're saying. And I said, I need a wake up call. And she says, ma'am, I have no idea in the world what you're talking about. And of course, it was probably somebody that was probably early 20s. And
Right.
she literally was clueless. And so I finally said, never mind. But, that goes back to training and modeling and explaining,
Mhm.
especially to the younger generation, what a wake up call is. So
Yeah.
again, what people do in the hotel industry is so very, very important. So I have, again, your book, and right out of the gate, you share one of the most amazing experiences of what you did for twins on their birthday.
Yeah.
So if you could
Good
tell that
question.
story, because what you find out in the end was just extraordinary.
Yes. Well, I want to back up on two things. If anybody is listening and thinks, "Oh, well, this is about hotels and that's not my area of expertise or where I'm working," I want you to know that yes is the answer is for everyone. If
Yeah.
you have a customer, and we all have a customer, even if you just have a 3-year-old at home or a mother-in-law in your life, you have a customer. So yes is the answer applies to all of us. It is to help turn your no's into yeses for yourself, for your customer and for your team members. So I promise you this will also apply to you. Now on the, I love this wake up call. This wake up call experience is killing me right now because we're sad to say it, the oldies now. Wake up calls are somewhat of a thing of a past. Every hotel still gets them, but they're very far and few between. But one of the things I keep talking about is that since the pandemic, there are people who have never seen 2019 and before service. Okay. So once we hit the pandemic, no matter what business you're in, whether you're selling insurance, whether you're a realtor, whether you are a retail, doesn't matter what business you're in, our service changed overnight. And now we have a whole new generation of people in our industries that have never seen what it was like in 2019 and before. So think about who's in your hotel, who's in your business, and if they've ever seen that kind of service. We even have general managers right now that are running hotels that are new in the industry that never have seen that. So we think, if we've been around for a while, we think people know the basics. They don't know. And we really need to retrain those. And we need to, for us oldies, we need to be reminded that they don't know that. They've never seen that. And we need to share it again. So hopefully that was a good reminder for people out there. You know, even if you're selling insurance or a realtor, I did my talk for an insurance company not too long ago. And I said, when's the last time you sent a handwritten card to one of your long-term clients that said, hey, congratulations on the kid's graduation? And they all looked at each other. So we don't do those little things anymore, but we used to.
That is true. You know, it's interesting you say that because recently, just with a baby shower,
Mm.
I mean, nobody got thank yous, and I thought that was really odd, and then I'm kind of finding out that a lot of people that are in this generation now, they don't write thank you notes. I mean, literally, they don't send a thank you
Nothing,
note.
maybe.
Because
Mhm.
I thought, well, did they not get my gift? And so, yes, those simple things before 2019 are like so important to bring back.
Right. The hospitality of it all. Yes,
The
yes. Well,
hospitality.
the story in the book is
Yeah,
about two. Well, first of all, I believe that you can change the world. Every time you say yes, you can change the world. And often in our little worlds that we're in our little offices, we think, well, I can't change the world. But when you change one person's world, you change the world. Okay. Things change because of that. And so I always am trying to impress upon people is what a difference we get to make. So there's one day I opened up a water park resort called Key Lime Cove Water Resort in Gurnee, Illinois. It was just one of my favorite experiences. And one day we were having our morning, we called it revival, but it's a stand up meeting. Okay. So we were having our morning meeting and I noticed a mom with her two sons walking towards our Mangrove Jacks, which was our sundry shop. Now at this time, it was very early. There weren't usually guests don't start milling around till about 8:30. The water park opened at 9 and the restaurants opened at 8 or 8:30. And so there was really nobody else. And I knew Mangroves was still closed. So as I saw her approaching, I said, I'll be right back, everyone. I went to greet our guest. So I said, good morning. I said, what brings you to Key Lime Cove? Are you celebrating anything this week? And she says, as a matter of fact, today is my boy's birthday. They're 5 today. And so I was like, oh my goodness, happy birthday. I said, would you like to have some fun with us? So they said yes. And we brought them into the middle of our huddle and we had a birthday cheer when we ran into birthday kids. So we did the birthday cheer. We got all excited. We gave them a bunch of tokens and then we gave them a sticker that said, I'm having a splash-tastic birthday at Key Lime Cove Water Resort. So now that little sticker is going to highlight them everywhere they go in the resort. And people are going to high five them and say happy birthday and turn this into such an experience. So we were just having so much fun that morning. Now, let me back up for a minute. Most people in those situations would say, oh, no, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, Mangroves is closed. It opens at 8. But when you begin with yes, you turn those no's into yeses. So instead of saying, no, I'm sorry, unfortunately, I said, good morning. And I made friends first, which is the first step, is to make friends first, build a relationship. So I did that. Then we got him in the huddle. We did our fun birthday cheer. Then I said, we were having so much fun with them. I said to the mom in secret, I said, would you mind if we come when you're in the water park and do a little surprise in your room for the boy's birthday? And she said, we would love that. So after we had our little fun, I said, what did you need over at Mangroves? And she said, I need some Tylenol. So I got her Tylenol. I put it on her room. Yes, 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 yes. And they were off to their fun day in the sunshine. Well, then later, my girls and I, we went to their room and we set up my very special in-room scavenger hunt. So when they walk in, the boys first see a balloon and a clue is on the balloon. That clue takes you to the bathroom. And in the bathtub, there's another clue that takes you to the back door, which takes you to the drawer, which takes you to the ice bucket. And then it ends in the safe. Inside the safe is all kinds of treasures and goodies and all kinds of things. And the kids, I don't care if you're 5 or if you're 55, everyone we've ever done the in-room scavenger hunt loves it. So they loved it. And all day, my girls and I, we were just giddy, just thinking about those boys and their scavenger hunt, right? So the day's going by. I'm in my office and I'm about to close up for the day. And I hear a knock at my door. And I look out the window and it's my special mom. I see her big glasses and her curly hair. And she says, oh, Christine, I'm so glad I caught you. I've been looking for you. She said, I just cannot tell you how much we appreciate what you have done for us today. And I'm like, did you love the scavenger hunt? She's like, you have no idea. She said, I want you to know that we are here today trying to turn this into a happy day again because last year on their birthday, their dad died. Right? Right? We had no idea. We just thought we were celebrating 2 little boys. I literally have goosebumps everywhere. Every time I think about this story, I can see my little mom. And again, every single day you are interacting with people that are going through things. And your smile, your hospitality, you know what? Let me see what I can do. Your hospitality changes people's lives. And
You never
that,
know. Yeah, you
yes.
never know what people are going through.
Yes, you don't. And everybody is going through something. Everybody is. And we are so lucky that we get to do this every day.
All right, so let me ask you about the pineapple. I mean, where did you get the concept of the wise pineapple? Because that follows you everywhere.
It does. And I didn't do this. This is a great strategy if you're building a brand to have something where everyone thinks of you. I didn't do it for that, but everyone thinks of me when they see a pineapple. And I love that. I love it. So first of all, I'm so glad you asked. I love talking about this. The hospitality symbol is the pineapple. The pineapple has been the symbol of hospitality for centuries. So right away, if you're in hospitality, you pretty much know that. And we just are attracted to pineapple. So we just love the pineapple. So I always have. However, on top of that, I don't know if you've ever heard that little poem, I guess you'd call it. It's be a pineapple, stand tall, wear a crown, be sweet. And when I think about that, I think about every single one of my master classes, keynote presentations, whatever product I'm putting together, it has 3 elements. It is to be confident, be empowered, and lead from the heart. Every session has those, are made up in those 3 sessions. And stand tall, be confident, wear a crown, be empowered, be sweet, lead from the heart.
I love that so much. That is so brilliant.
Yes. And this is really funny. When I was originally I worked at Marriott International. I had no intention of becoming an entrepreneur or any of that. I just loved what I did. I created a Facebook group called The Wise Pineapple. And it was just for hoteliers to join, collaborate, share ideas and positive energy. And when I was trying to think of a name for the group, I wanted it to be the Pineapple Express because I was on the road traveling with Marriott, helping hotels, and I'm this pineapple on the road, the Pineapple Express. But people think of the weed when they hear the Pineapple Express because of that movie.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. Oh.
So I'm like, I can't name it the Pineapple Express. So I'm like, well, we're all smart hospitality people. The Wise Pineapple.
I think that fits you much, much, much better.
Yes, yes.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm very glad for it.
So I think it's real interesting in your book, and it's all, and funny enough, in my new book, Make Your Current Job Your Dream Job. I write about the RAS and you write about the RAS, reticular activating system. So can you talk about that where when you're working and you need to use that and why you have that in your book?
Okay, well, I talk about it because of positive energy. A lot of people think that positive energy is for people like me, the cheerleaders, right? And the fluff and things like that. However, it's leadership. It's a choice. You can look at like, oh, I've got no control in the situation, life sucks. Or you can choose to see what's good, what you can do, and the solutions. That is not fluff. That is not cheerleader stuff. That is leadership. Okay. And when you start to put things in your mind like, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can achieve these scores, or I can hire the right team. You start creating that because that's what your mind is focused on. Once we create the picture, it's kind of like the pineapple. You meet me and all of a sudden you see pineapples everywhere. The reticular activation system is just, our bodies are so incredible. And if you think, oh, this day is going to suck, your RAS is going to find every reason why this day sucks. Believe
That's
me,
right.
there's not a person in the world who can't start the same day with two different mindsets and find the different answers. And then you swap them. They start with the same or the opposite mindset, and they're going to find the bad and they're going to find the good because you set your brain up to focus on what you want.
Your brain is a filter and it will filter out that negative if you're focusing on the positive. I mean, you'll start looking for those positive things versus, this again or that person. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great way to start your day. And then when you get into a situation in the day and you just want to pull your hair out, no, if you have it in your mind, like in your book, say yes, then you're going
Mm-hmm.
to look for the yes. So, yeah, I love that.
This is why it is so important and it's such a great idea to begin with a gratitude, piece of gratitude, whether you do a journal or just literally just wake up and think of one thing you're grateful for, because it just starts to activate that RAS into that positive energy. And this is something that I would do in our daily huddles every day. Is at the end of our huddle, I'd say, okay, who's got a shout out for somebody? You know how most teams will be like, well, AM shift or PM shift or that department or this department. And that's what we get into. But when you have your team huddle every day and you end that huddle with who's got a shout out for somebody, now when you know that's going to happen every day, you start looking for the good in each other instead of what everyone's doing wrong. So again, you can use it in all those different ways, and it's to help you build a culture that is unstoppable.
I love that. I love that, Christine. Well, you were in leadership positions many, many times. Besides let me see if I can find it. You were the director of fun at one point. I love, I mean, who else would be better at the director of fun? Yeah,
Oh,
there
yeah,
it is. Director of fun. Oh my God. So, in all
yeah.
your leadership positions, in one word, what does it mean to be an energized leader?
You're going to be surprised by this. Yes.
There you go. That is your word. Yes, I love that. So
To be an
explain that.
energized leader, it is all about, yes, it's open instead of closed, open minded instead of closed, solution focused instead of problem focused, all things we just were talking about, present instead of passive, believing instead of doubting, and creating momentum instead of draining it. Those are all yes answers. So when you're thinking about if it's one word, it's that yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
And it doesn't mean saying yes to everything. It means
Yeah.
bringing an energy that says we can figure it out.
Well, I like also what you said in your book in chapter 9. You talk about a choice of words. I mean, like you just said, you can't say yes every time, but if your mind is thinking, how can I say yes? How can I change my language so it's not negative? So I like it when you mention the word unfortunately. I mean, how
Uh-huh.
can we change that word from unfortunately? And I love the example that you gave one time when you were talking with somebody and you say, it's understandable that you would feel this way instead of saying, unfortunately. I mean, what a negative word, unfortunately. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think just changing your verbiage, even though you can't give them a yes in what they're requesting, just changing your verbiage is going to make a world of difference.
Yes, I'll paint a picture here for you. When hospitality, I love this quote. Hospitality is when the other person believes that you're on their side.
Oh, I love
And
that.
when we begin, right? I'll say it again for everyone. Hospitality is when the other person believes that they're on your side. And when we begin with no, nobody believes that you care, that you're on their side, that anything even matters besides your policy or your rule or your law or your situation.
Yeah.
So the very first step, as I mentioned already, is in yes is the answer is to pause and make friends first because it's biological. The reason your teams are saying no, I'm sorry, unfortunately, isn't because they're rude, they don't care, or they're Gen Z. It is because of biology. So when you get that hard no question, the anxiety of the confrontation gets the better of you, and you just go automatically into that flight or fright. No, I'm sorry, unfortunately. Checkout time is at noon. That's what happens to us physically. It's not because they don't care. It's because of biology. However, we can beat biology. When you pause before answering any question and connect, make a friend, you get yourself out of the anxiety and it opens your heart up to all the possibilities of what you can do, which is step number 2. Tell them what you can do. So, an example, let me give you an example in our world. So I just had this happen. Someone called, I was on a discovery call with someone to do their keynote speech for their GM conference. And I was booked that day. And you know what? In your body, you just want to go, oh, no, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I'm booked that day. But I don't do that. But I know at one point in my career, I would have. That would have been the answer. Or if you're selling a hotel space, are you sold out or etc. Um, Retail, that house was sold, you know? So it could happen to any of us. So it just happened. So instead, I pause and I make friends first. And I say, oh my goodness, I am so honored you want me to come to energize your teams. And I want that so much. Let me ask you a few questions. Now I'm getting to that can do. Are your dates flexible? Could your virtual be a possibility? All of that. Then if I get to the point where there's like, no, can't do that. No, can't do that. No, can't do that. I say, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you 3 speakers that are going to knock your socks off. And I'm going to be your speaker next year.
Mm, way to
And
go.
I'm going to still give you 2026 pricing.
Way to,
See,
way to
there's
go.
always a next yes. But
Yeah.
when you begin with no, that's where it ends.
Yeah.
And visualize this with me. When I start with no, it's me and you or it's me against you instead of us against the problem.
Mm. That is so good. That
Yeah.
makes me think you've already answered the next question because the next question is, what does an energized workplace culture look like to you? I mean, you pretty much just said that. I mean,
And actually, I've got something else for you on that too.
yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. So for the energized workplace, everything I said absolutely helps with that. Let me tee up that last thing really quickly. Because when I'm a team member that is the front line getting beat up by people who want late checkout or who want the house that was just sold or who want things that they can't have. I'm the one who gets beat up. And then I don't want to work here anymore because I don't feel good at my job. I don't feel valued. I feel like I'm stuck and my boss isn't setting me up for the win. So as leaders, we need to go, what are my top hard no questions that my front line gets faced with? And I need to set up and create a yes for them. So right there alone, you are going to change the environment of your team culture by helping them to stand tall and say yes. So now to add on to that, what I feel is a really energized workplace culture. Number one, a team that feels good at their job loves their job. A team that feels good at their job stays in their job and grows in their job. So there's so many things of that. One, setting them up to say yes, they're going to feel really good at their job. I'm making people happy all day long. But also there's so many other things. Like in our team huddle, I always give a Goldilocks goal. A Goldilocks goal is one of those goals where it's a little bit outside of your comfort zone, but totally doable. But then you feel really accomplished. And then you come back the next day. Okay, who did our goal yesterday? Tell me about it. And now, you're so good at this job. We couldn't do this without you. When you feel good at your job, you love your job. Think about a time where you felt like you were failing every day. They were on your butt, that you kept screwing up. All you wanted to do is go back to where you were good at your job. No matter the cost. Yes?
And that energizes people to wake up and go to work.
Yes. You want to go, you're excited. You're not pressing snooze alarm 100 times because you're dreading going back to work. People who feel good at their job love their job. The next one is having a purpose. So I've said my whole career, and I've taught every team member that we can change the world one yes at a time. And I talk about these stories just like the two boys and the things that we've actually gotten to do. In my keynote, I tell a story about a Navy mom that puts people in tears every time. It's so beautiful. And when you share these stories with your team and they really go, yeah, we're making a difference here. So when I show up for work, it's not to just sell your rooms. I'm changing people's lives. And that feels good. I'm a housekeeper and I'm changing people's lives. That feels good. I remember my housekeeper, after changing the whole atmosphere at this one particular hotel, and the evolution of this team was so beautiful. I remember talking about how we can do little towel origamis, handwritten notes, putting the shoes nicely and things like that. And I remember the housekeepers, we don't have time for this, Christine. We're paid per room. We don't have time for this. And then I started showing you'll get more tips. Into hospitality with the promise of more tips. But then pretty soon they were getting hugs in the hallway. They were getting their names mentioned in letters and surveys. And they were feeling how good it feels to change people's day. So having a purpose is why they do it now, not the extra tips, although they like the extra tips. And then finding something that you love about your job. I remember I was married. I was the senior manager of operations, and I crossed the country. I supported over 400 hotels across the country. And I remember being with one hotel, and it was an older property. And so it was challenging. And I remember I think it was the AGM or the operations manager, and I was walking the property with him, and everything he said about the hotel, and it hurt my feeling. It was so, like, if it was a person, it was so hurtful, and it was so disrespectful to the hotel and everything. And I looked at him and I said, why are you even here? If you can't find something to love about this hotel, you don't belong here. And that's the thing, you might not have the new sexy building, or you might not have the house listings that you dreamed of, but you have to find something you love about your place of business. Otherwise, it's too hard to emotionally tap into it. And that might be that this hotel puts food on the family for 50 different team members. And that's why I love it. And that's why I can sell it. You've just got to find something that you love about your place.
Well, that is such a good strategy mentally.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Mm-hmm.
right, so if you could go back in time and change anything as a leader, what would it be?
For myself, oh, so many things. But I don't regret any of them because I say this all the time. Everything I teach is because I failed at it and I learned a better way. So, I mean, if I just had everything handed to me and just did it right from the beginning, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But I will say two of the biggest aha learnings for me were, getting people's buy-in. Now, I'm a high performer. Everywhere I've been a high performer. I'm not perfect, but I show up. I show up and I give so much extra. And because I'm a doer, I tend to overdo instead of get other people to buy in. I think, oh, I'll just do it. I'll just do it. And when you do everything, people don't have autonomy and agency in it and buy into it. So I had to learn that the hard way. Let people be a part of it. Don't do it all.
Right.
And the other biggest thing that I heard probably every performance evaluation was to delegate more. I would have done better job delegating. And this is something I teach a lot in my sessions now. And the number one reason why we don't delegate and how to be better about that.
And why don't we delegate?
Because
I
would love to put that.
Yeah,
I would love to put that question out to your audience. I want you to think about this for a minute and think about all the reasons why you don't delegate. And what do you think is the number one reason that leaders across the world don't delegate? Think about that for a second. And I'm going to lay down the number one reason, and it might be hard to hear. You know what? Before I actually say it, I'm going to give you an example of it from my life. So my husband, I call him Bunny because he's such a little honey bunny. And I'll be like, oh, I gotta go grocery shopping. I can't stand the thought of it. I gotta go grocery shopping. And my sweet little husband says, oh, give me the list. I'll go for you. I'll go grocery shopping. Give me the list. I'm like, no. I gotta go. Why do I have to go? Because I don't have a list. The number one reason that we don't delegate is we are too unorganized to pass it off. And we think, oh, it's all in my head, so I have to do it. If we could spend 2 hours, let's just use this example. Let's just say you have a new leader and they're going to take over the schedule. Okay. Or you do the schedule and it takes an hour of your time every week to do the team schedule. And now you'd like to delegate it, but all the requests off, all the availability, it's all in your head. Maybe the platform and how you do your schedule is all in your head. Now you can take an hour and put together a schedule binder with everyone's requests off, everyone's availability and how to run the system, and then teach that other person, or you can keep doing it every week for an hour. Now I can spend 1 extra hour organizing it and teaching it. And now I've got 50 hours back over the course of the year. So do things today. This is a Rory Vaden quote. Do things today that will save time tomorrow. Get those things that you can't delegate and ask yourself, why am I not delegating it? And most of the time it's because it's not organized enough to delegate.
That is the best advice. That is amazing. All right, so we're winding down here, so I have to ask you the last fun question. So are you ready for that?
I'm ready.
So is there a favorite movie, book, or gadget that you've seen or purchased in the last month or two?
Okay, I love this question. I'm going to go with this one. I've seen it in the last month, but it's also a book. It's called Remarkably Bright Creatures. Desi, have you listened to it or watched it or?
No.
Okay.
Is that the one with Sally Field?
Yes.
Okay.
So I read the book maybe a year ago now. And when I started it, I was a little bit of a coconut. And I first started like, okay, this octopus is a character in the book. And I'm not usually a fantasy reader. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. But I said yes. And I kept going. And I fell in love with this book. I fell in love with this book. And then maybe a half a year later, I saw that they were making the Netflix movie and Sally Field would play the main character. She's not an octopus. She's the main character though in the movie, and they made the Netflix movie, and it just came out like a week or two ago, and it's perfect. They did a perfect adaptation of the book. So if you haven't seen it or read it, the book is called Remarkably Bright Creatures. I don't know the author offhand, and they just made it a Netflix movie. So read the book first and then go watch it.
All right. I will
Yeah.
definitely do that. That's awesome. Well, you've been an amazing guest. Thank you for being the wise pineapple, the yes lady. And I will make sure all your information is in the show notes because you even have a TED Talk. So we want people to go check out your TED Talk, your website, and everything. So thank you again for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you, Desi. I love ya.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.